This life we live is our test. And the Lord has given us the opportunity to learn and trust in His Word. We don't fully appreciate His mercy and His grace. He gives us time to walk through our spiritual journey and to overcome the challenges of this world. But man has fallen far from His place and is now subjected to evil. But God is delivering us from it through His Son. So walk in the confidence He has for you, because He called you and nothing can remove you from His hand. So that right there is a message I woke up to this morning. That's from a gentleman at my church named Mr. Willie. Shout out to Mr. Willie. He's a mentor at my church. He kind of sends me these messages sometimes just as a way to start my day off and make sure my head's on straight. And I really appreciate him for that. So thank you, sir. But yeah, I kind of wanted to speak on it first and bring it up as a way to kind of set the premise for what we're going to talk about in this video as I address the topic. So yeah. So as most of you know, I own a moving company. During the course of some of my jobs, I have customers that no longer want to keep furniture and they have to get rid of it. And specifically, I had a piece of furniture that a customer was moving to from Orlando to California, and they had a 16-foot pod, and so only so much stuff could fit in the pod. And so they started taking priority stuff first, and whatever was left over, they just had to kind of get rid of. And they had this really nice desk that they wanted to take, but it just didn't fit. It wasn't a priority, so they just had to get rid of it. So it was amongst some of the stuff that we were gonna essentially take to the dump and just throw away. But this desk was in perfect condition. They just couldn't fit in the pod. So I was like, man, I'm not just about to let this go to waste. You know what I mean? This is a perfectly good desk. I'm gonna take it, see if one of my family members want it, or see if I can sell it, do something with it. So I kept the desk. So we kind of load everything into the pod and then we leave. The desk is in the back of my truck. So we went to the dump yard and we dumped everything that was in the truck except for the desk. Where my car was and where I had to return the truck to, there was a pretty good distance. So I didn't want to drive to my car, put the desk in my car, and then drive back over to where I had to return the truck to. So I figured I'd just try and leave the desk there at the dump because it was closer to where my car was. The lady at the checkout booth, I kind of just asked her like, hey, do you mind if I leave this desk here and I'll be back in an hour to come pick it up? I didn't want to dump it. But my car, I got to get to my car first, so I'll be back in like an hour. Immediately I could tell like she was a little reluctant. Like she was like, okay, like, you know, that's fine. Maybe you can leave it over here and, you know, maybe nobody will touch it. And if somebody says something about it, like, I'll take the blame for it. And she was a very nice, sweet lady, but I could tell by her response that it might have been something that she maybe wasn't supposed to do. Like she wasn't allowed to do that. But for whatever reason, she like was letting me do it. And so she's like, yeah, just leave it up here. And you know, if anything is said about it, if I get in trouble for it, then, you know, so be it. And I was just like, okay, like, I was like, all right. I didn't think it'd be a problem. That was why I asked. But I could tell it might have been a problem based on her response, but she was okaying it. Like for whatever reason, she was looking out for me. You know what I mean? More or less, she was looking out. And she's a very sweet lady, so I appreciated that. But it kind of put the pressure on me like, well, man, I told her I'll be back in an hour. I don't know how realistic that is, but shoot, now I got to make sure I'm back in an hour. I don't want to get this lady in trouble, right? And there's like a big camera and everything and all this stuff. So I'm like, dang, like now I gotta make sure I'm back within the hour. So, but more or less, boom, we drop the desk off, and then I come back in my car. She's in the booth talking to another customer, so I just jump out my car. I got an SUV, so I had to take the legs off, and then I was able to fit it into my trunk. But I put it in there, close the trunk, and then, you know, I just kind of take off. I was like, man, I hope I got out of there clean. I hope she doesn't get in trouble. I don't know why that lady looked out for me. She did not have to. She could have just told me no, you know, but she did. So shout out to her, man. And even me speaking on this right now, like I'm starting to see the testimony I'm sharing, I guess you could say the story that I'm sharing started before the point that I even was gonna start telling it from, you know what I mean? I think that's kind of where it started in of itself. Like she didn't have to do that. She didn't have to do that. It would have made it more complicated for me if I couldn't leave the desk there. Yeah, she didn't have to do that, you know? So she was looking out, and I didn't realize that this story kind of starts from that point. Y'all know how I get kind of scattered when I start telling stories, so just bear with me, right? Just bear with me. So a couple days go by. I've been lazy about doing something with this desk, but finally the day comes where I had the free time. I didn't have any customers, so I called my mom up around like the afternoon. I'm like, hey, what you doing? You at the house? She's like, yeah, we're kind of just hanging out. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll be there within the next like 30 minutes or whatever, and I'll come by and see you guys. Cause my mom, my two little adopted sisters, they stay over, well, not little, 16 now. My sister's birthdays were at this point, maybe 3-4 days ago. My mom's birthday was like 2 days ago. I kind of wanted to offer them this desk as kind of like just a little gift for the house. So I was like, all right, give me 30 minutes and I'll be over there. She was like, all right, cool. I head over there. And I get there and I'm kind of walking through the house, seeing where a good spot to put the desk would be, but I can't really see like any practical spots to put it. My mom is like, I don't know, she's got kind of like a lot of furniture. Not a lot of furniture, but there just wasn't much room like to put the desk. Like they kind of already had everything taken up. Called out to the car and I finally tell her, hey, I got this desk in the back, perfect condition. If you want it, I want to give it to you guys. And she's like, oh wow, yeah, like I'm not really sure where I would put it, but the girls have a desk, I have a desk. Maybe we can put it out back in the patio, replace that desk. And I was like, no, yeah, but it's wood, so it might, if it rains or something like that, it could kind of get compromised and everything. Because she has like a screened-in patio in her backyard. They have like a desk and a TV out there where the girls do their homework sometimes. And I was like, but it's wood. I don't know. The rain, it might. And so she was like, yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. Aside from that, like, we're okay. We don't really need the desk. So I was like, all right, cool. No problem. So then I called my sister, my older sister. I have a sister as well that's 8 years older than me. So again, I'm the baby. Well, I used to be the baby before I got two younger adopted sisters. But see, this is what I'm talking about. I can't. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me realign my brain. Get my thoughts together. All right, go. So I called my older sister. I call her up. I actually call up my brother-in-law, my sister's husband. Typically before I ever go to their house or whatever, I'll call him first just to make sure, hey, you guys are home. They might be relaxing or something like that. So I'll call him first, be like, hey, can I swing by? And he'll either give me the okay, or if he's cool with it, but he wants to make sure like my sister's cool with it, he'll just kind of be like, oh, call Nate and see what she says. But yeah, typically he'll just tell me off rip, like, yeah, you cool, come swing by, we're chilling. And I just do that just to show like a kind of respect. Like I don't ever just pop up out their house. I'll just call him first as the man of the house and be like, hey, is it cool if I swing by? And I'm like, hey, is it cool if I swing by? I wanted to show you all this desk that I had in case you guys wanted it. And he's like, oh, we're not home right now, but FaceTime me. I'll take a look at it. And so I FaceTime him and I'm showing him the desk in the trunk of my car. And he calls my sister over to the phone and he's like, hey, can we use this desk? And I'm showing my sister, and she's like, oh, no, we're okay. Like, thank you, though, dear. I appreciate it. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, no problem. Now I'm like, man, well, what the heck do I do with this desk? I was like, man, like, I was going to sell the desk, like, if nobody wanted it, but I don't know. I was only going to sell the desk for, like, maybe $50, which is still a come up. It's a profit, but sometimes I'm just too lazy to go through the work of posting it and then finding a buyer and getting it off. I was like, man, I'll just force the desk into my crib somewhere. Like I don't really have anywhere. I have a perfectly fine desk, but I'll just find somewhere to force it into my crib. And before I got home, I had called my homeboy, swing by his crib because he lives near where my mom is. I was gonna swing by his crib, chop it up with him for a little bit, and then head home. Since I was on that side of town, I called him, he didn't pick up, so I just kept driving and I was going home. But I ended up stopping at this hair supply store where I kind of like buy stuff for my dreads, like just kind of little oils and I don't know, like just random stuff. Sometimes I just be buying for my hair at this beauty store. So oh man, yeah, I be going by the beauty store sometimes to buy stuff for my hair. I know that sounded like crazy work when I said it. I got dreads, so and I care a lot about them, so I'm very attentive to their needs. Oh, y'all don't know how hard it be to record these stories sometimes, man. Like when I be talking out loud I'm in a room by myself right now talking out loud. Like y'all gotta understand that. So sometimes when I say certain things and I'm the only one hearing it and like it kind of echoes, I'm hearing it just myself. It sound crazy. Not to y'all, but anyway, stick to the story, bro. I'm sorry. I'm working on it. I'm working on delivering these stories in a fashionable time and getting y'all out of here. I promise I'm getting better. I'm getting better. But yes, so I stopped by the beauty store and I go in there and I'm buying stuff and then boom, my phone ring, I pull it out, it's Pat. He's calling me back. So he's like, yo bro, what's up? Sorry I missed the call. Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, homie, I was over by your side of town. I was just trying to see if you was home. I was gonna swing by, but I kind of made it like 20 minutes towards the other side of town, so it's kind of dead now. And he's like, oh, my fault. I was doing X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? And he had just moved into that crib recently that he's in. I helped him move in there. And so he was like, yeah, I was taking care of something. I was like, nah, you good? How's the new crib? Like, you know what I mean? Everything's going good? He's like, yeah, just, he's like, I'm just waiting to get some more furniture in here right now, so I'm just keeping an eye out for stuff. And boom. Right there, it hit me. I was like, you looking for new furniture still? He's like, yeah. I was like, you want a desk? He was like, yeah, I'll take a desk. So I was like, all right, I'll be there in 20 minutes. He was like, all right, cool. So I jumped in the car and I started heading over to him and got to his crib, took the desk out, put the legs on it, boom, sat it in his crib, found a home for the desk, just like that. And to me, sometimes it's really that simple. Like just going through your day, sometimes certain things will happen that, someone might contribute to just a coincidence or just luck, or that's just the way it went. You know what I mean? Or they might not even find it significant, might not think much of it. Anybody could have went through that same situation and been like, oh, that's just how the day played out. To me, when I wake up in the morning, there's a prayer that I do. During the course of that prayer, I always make sure to ask God for the opportunity to bless someone, whether it's through conversation or through an act of service, or just by being myself, being a man of God and having someone observe me from a distance and seeing certain characteristics and qualities about how I carry myself, and being intrigued enough to wonder and maybe ask a question, or just being curious in the moment and allowing God to use that as an opportunity to sow a seed in that person. Just by being myself, I may not even know that person's observing me. Just by being myself, God can use that as an opportunity to enter someone's life or enter their mind, their thought process, through that little bit of curiosity, and that's a chance for me to glorify God. And so with me knowing that's always a part of my prayer, I'm always aware of these things when they happen, and I continuously contribute it to God. And I think through flexing that muscle of knowing when to give God credit for certain things, I could have had that whole phone call with him, and if he hadn't specifically said, I'm waiting for some new furniture, or like still looking for some new furniture, it may have never dawned on me to offer him the desk. Like I could have sold it, or I could have forced it into my crib and just kept the desk, or I could have maybe even said, screw it, this is too much work, and just took it to the dump, or just gotten rid of it. I don't know. Anything could have happened with it. But it was literally because he said those words, that he was still looking for furniture for his crib, that brought it to my mind to give him the desk. And because I stopped at the beauty store and I hadn't made it home, if I had made it home, it was dead. I wasn't going back. They live on the other side of town. It's a drive to get over to them. So at least for that day, it would have been like, nah. And then it might have gotten pushed over to another week, and it might have, anything could have happened from there. You get it. And then he called me, said what he said, and I saw that as an opportunity, and I attribute that to God. Just little things like that, and giving God recognition for situations like that play out through my day sometimes. I think that's a muscle that I'm flexing, so that when more significant things happen, I'm able to recognize it. And I would say the same for you guys in any scenario. You ask the question of, how do I recognize and discern when it's God being active in my life? How do I know to attribute it to God? And for me, it's simply just a matter of when you pray for certain things and ask God to reveal certain things to you, and then something happens that you're not necessarily initiating yourself or setting into place yourself, things that just kind of happen that you would naturally just maybe say that's a coincidence or something. Like, I don't believe in like coincidences. I don't believe in luck. I contribute all these things to God. I believe certain things are just divine in that way. Like I said, I think through the rehearsal of doing that, you become more in tune with seeing God act in your daily life. And the more it grows, the better you become at discerning and recognizing his presence in your daily life. Even while I'm at Patrick's house, he kind of got to talking to me in the parking lot as I was leaving, and he's telling me about how he wanted to start like a little food truck business where he's just kind of side hustling, selling plates, because he loves cooking and he's really good at it. And he gets to talking to me about that, and he's like, yeah man, like if you're on this side of town, coming up this week or whatever, like let me know. You can stop by, grab a plate, like I'll whip you up something, just let me know what you want. And he shows me these pictures of some plates that he made. He's like, yeah, just let me know what you want, I'll whip you up something. So I'm like, shoot. I'm like, all right, bet, say less. So the very next day, which is now today, because this happened on Saturday, yesterday, I probably would post this video on Monday, but currently today, at the time of recording, it's Sunday. Today, after church, I texted him. I was like, hey man, church is letting out. I can be over there within like an hour if you could whip me up something. He's like, all right, bet, swing by. I swing over there. He whips me up this meal. He's in the kitchen and he's cooking and stuff like that, and I'm watching him work, and he kind of just telling me like these ideas that he have and what he would call the business and how he would like to like operate it and run it. And I could just see how passionate he was about it. And so I'm just observing him in the kitchen whipping this up, and I'm like, man, like this was dope. This is dope. Like, I would love to support the homie, like, in any way I could. So I asked him, I'm like, what would you call it? You know, if you started the business, what would you call it? But yeah, he kind of tells me the name that he would call it. I'm like, okay. So he gives me the food, you know, he puts it in like a container, and you know, I dap him up, and I'm like, all right, homie, I appreciate you. And I walk out, and I leave, get in my car, and I bounce. And as I'm leaving, as I'm driving home, I Zelle him. I send him some bread for the food. You know, nothing crazy. I sent him like $15, and in the notes, I Zelled it to him. So you know how when you Zelle somebody, you can leave a note behind. In the notes, I write the name of the business that he told me that he was thinking about, you know, naming it. I write that in the notes, and I'm like, thanks for the food order. And I sent him $15, and then I sent him another one for $5, and I'm like, here's a tip. And just like that, I sent him $20, you know, just off the strength of the homie, just supporting what he doing, you know what I mean? And he gets it. Or no, he calls me, he's like, bro, he's like, man, I kind of shorted you, man. What I should have did was I should have had you taste test 2 different seasonings that I could have put on the fries, and you could let me know which one you want, but I automatically assumed that you would like this one, so I put it on the off rip. I'm like, man, don't even trip. I already taste tested it, like, man, it's fire, bro. Like, next time we'll do that. Next time. He's like, all right, cool, man, I appreciate you. And then, you know, maybe 5 minutes later, he texted me. He's like, man, I got the payment, man. Thank you so much. Like, I appreciate it. He's like, you ain't taste nothing yet. Next time I'm gonna have some mac and cheese. I'm gonna have this, and that. And I'm like, man, you know what I mean? I sent him one of those little memes, like Denzel meme, like something like this. I love sending Denzel memes, man. Denzel's my guy, so just like that, you know what I mean? Just simple. I saw it as a way to support the homie. You know, I can only imagine how that would have felt for him, just having that idea in his mind, and then kind of briefly experiencing selling something to a customer, and then getting tipped for it, and a satisfied customer, like, to experience what that really could feel like, and potentially whether something comes from it or not. Being able to be a part of, like, creating these experiences for people, you know, just allowing God to just use me. And that all stemmed from giving him that desk, because we had the conversation as I was dropping the desk off to him, and it stemmed into me showing up the next day, and then that whole situation played out the next day, which was today. And so I think of things like that, and I attribute that to God. Because it wasn't my idea. It wasn't. It just kind of just played out. And so yeah, that's how I discern those kind of situations, you know. And I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps clear up things for somebody. I wake up in the morning and I pray for the opportunity to bring glory to God. And then now I go through my day presenting myself as a man of God, masking myself based on how Jesus would carry himself throughout a day in any situation I might get into. Through me doing just that, opportunities for me to sow a seed or be an example, or creating an opportunity for God to enter someone's heart, or just having someone observe me in a certain way that creates enough curiosity in them to wonder what it is about me that makes me carry myself that way. I've had plenty of people come up to me and say, while I'm working on jobs, they're like, man, like, you know what I noticed? Like, you never curse. What happens specifically is someone will come up to me and be like, you Christian? Like, you believe in God and everything? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, you know, why you say that? And they'll be like, I can just tell, like, you never curse. And I'm like, so what that mean? I believe in God? Because I don't curse? And they're just like, no, I just noticed, like, you know, I'm up here cursing up a storm and you haven't said one curse word this whole time. We've been together all day. You know, and it's like, yeah, I mean, just, if I'm out here dropping F-bombs and stuff like that, you know, there will be nothing to make you believe or create the curiosity that I'm any different than anybody else out here in the world. Like, you know what I mean? It just kind of automatically ruins the opportunity for someone to have that curiosity, you know what I mean? Or be intrigued to ask and want to know more, you know, because I kind of look like everybody else. And that's happened to me numerous times. And so it's just little things like that. Being aware of how you carry yourself and flexing that muscle, noticing small little things that happen throughout your day, and knowing when to attribute those things to God. It's through that you develop a relationship to where over time I think it becomes easier to decipher what's from God and what's not. So yeah, this video is already way longer than it was supposed to be, man, because I cannot tell a straight story. Some of you guys say I'm a good storyteller. I feel like I absolutely suck. When I get passionate about it, I can get straight to the point, get in and out. But as I'm telling the story and I'm reliving it and I'm hearing myself talk out loud by myself, and I say certain things that sound kind of funny, so I just digress in one direction and then I got to get back on track like I'm doing right now. Yeah. So something interesting happened. So I recognize the Sabbath. For any of you who don't know, the Sabbath starts on Friday at sunset all the way up until Saturday at sunset. So it's for the span of 24 hours. No matter what the season is or, your location, it might start at a different time point, but it's recognized for 24 hours. So for us, it's Friday around 7:30 until Saturday around 7:30. So Saturday is essentially like a day of rest. And then Sunday, we have church service on Sunday at my church, but it's just more so because it's just more convenient. But really, we have a service on Friday evening at 7:30. That's our Sunday for the average person. I missed church last Friday evening because I was just so exhausted from work, and I've been going to service every week, Friday evening and then Sunday morning consistently. But I'm doing all this while I'm working extreme hours, and so half the time I'll be falling asleep in church after worship, and I feel so bad about it. But last Friday, I allowed myself to stay home and kind of just rest. I was so upset that I did it because I ended up finding out that this gentleman he was a role model to me, man, for so long while I was in high school, growing up and stuff. He was a role model to me, and he's probably about 7, 8 years older than me. I met him through church that I go to now, and he was a teacher, and he was really connected with my sister's husband, my brother-in-law, and so they became good friends. And then through them, I met him, and we kind of developed our own relationship. And so I would kind of crash out his crib sometimes, and I just really respected the way his way of life. He was a bachelor at the time. He didn't have a girl, no kids. It was just him in his crib. And I just really admired the way he lived, just being in his crib. He had a nice Mustang and stuff, and he was a teacher, and it was just him. He was just living life, and he'd go to church, and I don't know, it was just cool. I just really respected him, you know what I mean? I don't know, he just kind of took me under his wing like a younger brother, and so I really admired him for that. But nonetheless, he ended up moving to Atlanta, kind of stopped talking as much. But recently he's moved back to Tampa, which is maybe 2 hours from where I live here in Orlando, 2.5 hours. And he had came to church that Friday, and he brought his family with him. He has a family now. My mom was telling me about it. She's like, man, you miss Gary. You miss Gary. He showed up to the church, and he had his family blessed into the church and everything. And we met his wife and his daughter, and it was great. And I was so sick about it. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness, how the heck did I miss that? It reminded me of what I've been going through. In the crib that I live in, situation that I'm now in, that you guys know I'm single, I don't have any kids. Sometimes I'll be sitting in my crib and I think about this man all the time because I feel like I'm in the very situation that he was in, that I admired him for so long. And being in it now, there's parts of it where it's but I want a family though. I don't want to be by myself. I don't want to be like a bachelor. I'm only 27 right now, but man, these are things that I want. You guys hear me talk about it in pretty much every video. As I watch some of my videos back, I see how much I speak on it, and I began to feel a little bit like I was trying to get ahead of God in a way. And so I want to read a scripture that Mr. Willie also sent to me, the man who sent me the message at the beginning of the video that I read. I want to read a scripture that he sent to me as well a couple days ago. I don't have to look for a wife. I've said that before, I'm looking. And I don't necessarily have to look. And some of you guys have mentioned it in the comment section. It's okay to be aware of it, for it to be on your radar, but just allow things to play out. And when the time is right, God knows the desire of my heart. He knows that that's what I want for myself. And so just have faith that when the time is right, he'll present that woman to me, and the opportunity for me to start my own family will present itself. But in the meantime, that doesn't mean I just sit and wait for it to happen. No, there's work that needs to be done, which is being done right now while I'm single, figuring things out. Me learning certain skills, like how to get better with my finances, me making sure I stay in the gym and make sure my body's good, so when I have a family, I'm physically fit so that I can protect them and provide for them, and instilling values in myself that I can then share with them, and be developing myself into a leader, so that they can follow me and have faith that I'm going to lead them in the right direction because I'm following God. God's developing me to get to the point so that when he adds that family to me, I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? And I may not be in a perfect ideal scenario. Things may not be perfect, but it'll be the perfect time for me. You know what I mean? I'm going to read the scripture, and the scripture was just a reminder just to kind of sit still and let God's timing run its perfect course, essentially. So the message says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes it so that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of his word, which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine, so neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, and you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he bears much fruit. Far apart from me, you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away as a branch and dries up, and they gather them and cast them into the fire. If you abide in me, and my word abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. My Father is glorified by this, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. John 15, 1-8. It's just like Zaire. Relax. God's timing will be perfect. Your family will come at the exact time that they need to come when you are ready, or when God deems it to be most favorable to you. And aside from that, just continue to grow closer to him, learn more about him, learn who he is, learn his promises, become a better leader. When the time is right, everything will take care of itself. And so again, as I always say, as I'm saying these things, I'm speaking to myself, but I'm also sharing this with you guys. Gentlemen, any one of you that are in my position, which I know there's a lot of you because you tell me, let's just chill. Let's just relax. Even for females, this is not just for men, for females too. Like, just relax sometimes. That's all it takes. Just relax. And when it comes to discerning God's word, and when he's telling you to do something, or if you're looking for direction and you're asking God for a decision you have to make or something like that, and trying to decipher if it's him telling you yes or no, or left or right, just relax. Just pray at the beginning of your day, make your request known to him, and then walk through your day and just be attentive to certain things. And if you feel led to make a decision, God leaves with us the Holy Spirit for that reason. Don't attribute things to luck or just really coincidence. Like, just really, if you believe and have faith, just have a little faith. That's all God needs. And he knows how to reveal something to you so that you know how to decipher it. He knows how to reach each and every one of us. He knows you're looking for a sign. He knows you're looking for a message. And it may not be a burning bush every time, to where it's clear as day what you should do. But he knows how to reach each and every last one of us. Don't stress, don't fret, just relax. Enjoy your life. Enjoy where you are in the present moment. If you're going through a struggle, consider it joy, because when you get out of that struggle, you're going to bear much fruit. And it'll all be worth it, I promise. That's what I got. This video was supposed to be 8 to 12 minutes, and this recording itself is at 40 minutes, so that is cooked. That is cooked. But yeah, I'm gonna work on getting y'all out of here sooner, man. I promise. It's a work in progress. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And as always, God willing, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.